All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Today we're talking about points, lines, and planes. Today is August 26th. There are three undefined terms in geometry: point, line, and plane. Now, they are called undefined terms because there are so many good definitions that they can't settle on just one, because they have a lot of things that are true about them. So we're going to look at what they look like and how we're going to label and name them. The first thing we're going to look at is the point. Now we actually see a point as a dot. So we'll see a dot that's representing our point, and it's always labeled with a capital uppercase letter in print. So we could have this one be point A. That's what it would look like. We got our uppercase letter, and this is point A. We know exactly which point that we're talking about when we say that. No, there we go. Maybe. The next undefined term that we're going to look at is a line. Now, a line goes on forever in both directions and can be labeled with a lowercase cursive letter. So this right here we would say is line L. Notice this does not have a dot. This is not a point on the line. It is one way to name our line. We could also have something like this that has points on it. Let's say we have A and B right here. Now, to name this second line, we have to use the points because we don't have that cursive letter like we had in the first one. So this one, we would have to use our 2 points. We could call it line AB or line BA. And we would use the 2 uppercase letters, and we're going to put a bar with 2 arrows on it, representing that it's a line. It's going to go on forever. We could also call it line BA. The order doesn't matter when you're naming a line. Now, sometimes we might have more than 2 points on a line. So let's say we had point C right here. Well, you're not going to name this line ABC. You do not ever use 3 letters. Just use 2. So if you wanted, you could call it line AC, and it's still the exact same line. And we would put our 2 bars above it. There are many, many more ways we can name this line, but you cannot use 3 letters. That is a no-no, so don't do that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay? Now, the last undefined term that we have is a plane. Now, a plane is a flat surface. So when you see a diagram or a picture of a plane, they always kind of have it as a slanted rectangle. So this is what they use to represent a plane. Now, to name a plane, there's a couple different ways. The first thing that they do is they usually have an uppercase cursive letter to name it. So this one would be plane R, one way to name it. And forgive my R, it's not a very good cursive. Whoa. There we go. Another way that you can name a plane is using 3 points. Okay, so we got 3 points right here. So we could call this plane DOG. Now, you can scramble those letters if you want. You don't have to put it in that order. You can call it ODG. That would be another good name for it. And a lot of times you'll see people write the word plane in front of it, but you have to make sure if you're using points that you use 3 points. So it takes 1 letter to name a point. You need 2 points to name a line, but you're going to need 3 points to name a plane. Okay, moving on, we got some more terms that are definable. And we're going to look right here. Got some new vocabulary words we're going to look at. The first one is collinear points. Now notice the root word here we got is line. Now what helps me is I think co-captains are on the same team. So collinear, they're going to be on the same line. Points that are on the same line. Now we also have that same idea for the next word. This one is coplanar points. So the root here, it's plane. It doesn't have the E because it has that ending right there. But again, it's co, so we got on the same plane. So points that lie on the same plane. So we got collinear and coplanar. Those are very important terms. We're going to be going over those the next few days. It is important to understand them. Our next term is segment. Now it's also thought of as line segment, and it is a portion of a line that has two endpoints. So let's say we have this line right here, and we got X on it, and we got Y. Now, since we are talking about a segment, really, we don't want this whole thing that goes on forever and ever and ever. We only want from X to Y. It is just this portion, right here. That's the only piece that we want. So that is a line segment. We have a definite start and stop point on this. Now, to name it, you have to use those two endpoints. We're going to say X, Y, and we just put a bar across the top. We don't want to put the arrows because this doesn't go on forever and ever. It stops from X to Y. Order does not matter, so we can actually switch these. We can have it segment YX. And those are both the exact same segment. You know exactly what I'm talking about. From X to Y, from Y to X. It's that piece. Ray is another new term that we have, and I always think of like a sun ray, a ray coming from the sun, because this has one endpoint and it goes forever in one direction. So again, it's a piece of a line, but we only have one endpoint this time, so we are going to go forever in one direction. Okay, so here's our line. Let's do this one, TW. Okay, so if I wanted to name the ray right here, starting at T and going through W, order does matter when you're naming a ray. I need to know, where do I start? What is my endpoint? So we have to use the T first to name this ray. So this is going to be TW. And you put the bar with one arrow. I know this one was going to the right, but even if it was going to the left, we would use this symbol right here with the arrow on the right. Now, let's say we wanted to name ray WT right here. You notice how it starts at W, that's the end point, and then it's going to the left. So to name this ray, it is a different one. You can't say TW anymore. We got to use a different thing, because order does matter. Our endpoint is W. So we're going to say W, and then it goes through T. WT. And again, even though it goes to the left, my symbol goes to the right. You have to read the letters to know where you're going. Okay, the last word that we have on this slide is opposite rays. This is when you have two rays that have the same endpoint, but they're going in opposite directions, so together they form a line. It's like you have half of the line over here, half of the line over there. So let's take a look at this one. This time we're going to have points A, B, and C. All right, so let's say our first ray is this right here. Do you know what the name of this ray is? Okay, think about it. Where's our starting point? Where does it go through? How are we going to name it? That's right. We got to have B and C. And we're going to put our ray symbol. So that's that one right there. Now we could also have another one starting at B, but goes through point A. This ray right here. What's the name of this one? Okay, our starting point is B. It goes through A. So this right here. Notice together they form a line together. So those are opposite rays. Okay, we got one more thing we're going to, and it is intersections. Now, intersections are the points that your figures have in common. So what we're going to see today, we're actually going to have two lines that intersect. Okay, and you can see when they hit, they only share one point in common. On this picture down here, we have a line that cuts through a plane. And you can see this line N, the only piece that it shares with plane R is point P right here. Sorry, P's and popcorn. We're going to also look at when two planes intersect each other in class. So we're going to look more at this in a little bit. Okay? I hope this went well for you. That was our first thing in your notes. Have a good day.